What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Mosley. That is Scott Savage. You can find me over on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, welcome back, buddy. We're into July 7th now, and we've got some pretty interesting news on the dock today.
Oh yeah, it seems like there's been some interesting announcements today, and the news is we're trying to catch up with the news now all of a sudden.
Man, it's been a hot week already, hasn't it? We're on fire, man.
Yeah.
But coming up on today's show, that you can join us live over on twitch.tv/theofficialITG, as well as YouTube. There you can join us, but if you can't join us live, it's not a big deal. Hit us up later inside the game.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. But for today's show, Scott, Ubisoft is looking to make Assassin's Creed a game of service. We'll definitely be talking about that. Could Valorant be getting to Battle Royale mode? And Pokemon Go made how much money in 5 years? Dude, they made a ton of money. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, that's a surprise to no one, but the amount, though, we'll get to that.
Absolutely, yeah. But before you get started, Scott, a little PSA. Everybody do us a favor. Hit us up over on Twitter at the official ITG. Send us a follow. Hashtag ITG Daily. Let us know that you joined us. You saw us live. We know you're watching us over on TV streaming networks around the globe. So do us a favor. Help us out and support us over on Twitter a little bit. A little bit goes a long way sometimes, Scott. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, and we'd like to pull you into the community, hear what you have to say, and talk some video games. That's what we do.
Absolutely. Now let's get talking about some Ubisoft plans as they plan for Assassin's Creed live online game service. The Assassin's Creed Infinity project seeks to emulate the prolonged financial success of GTA 5 Online and Fortnite. Scott, this is what they're pulling in. So I pulled this from Jason Schreier, who just posted this morning over on Bloomberg, so definitely go check out his article. But I wanted to kind of captivate a couple things that he brought into the topic here. So a new project, which is known inside Ubisoft Entertainment SA by the codename Assassin's Creed Infinity, sets out to create a massive online platform that evolves over time according to people familiar with its development. Infinity will contain multiple settings with room to expand to others in months and years following its debut, said the people who asked not to be identified discussing a project under development. Individual games on the platform might look and feel different, but they will all be connected. Details surrounding the project, which has been previously reported, are in flux and is still years away from release. Development of Assassin's Creed game typically involves thousands of employees across dozens of Ubisoft offices, led by teams in Montreal or Quebec City, and alternate duties. The Montreal team helmed last year's Assassin's Creed Valhalla, while Quebec ran the previous game, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. For Assassin's Creed Infinity, this tradition will also change. In April, Ubisoft unified the Montreal and Quebec teams. Now, they will collaborate on Infinity, and each will have its own creative director, but Quebec will take the charge of the franchise. This has been a long rivalry between the two studios that has times turned acronymous, according to people familiar with the matter. So this shift could cause a couple headaches, Scott. There's a rivalry between two studios within a massive company. Shocker. That's but
A little bit of a sibling rivalry issue, I think, there, because
yeah, exactly.
they're both on the same team, but they seem to have different ideas of how to create an Assassin's Creed title. So that'll be interesting to see how they work together. But this is quite a large idea in scope. This seems to be a big shakeup.
Well, I'm curious to see what they're going to do, right? They've seen the rise of GTA Online, which is now seeing a whole generation of influx of players and most notably money, right? Let's not deny the business side of things and how much money GTA Online has brought in. And Fortnite to boot with a Battle Royale going and changing up the map design each and every time, where you see other companies follow suit, like Activision with Call of Duty now changing up the map design as well.
Oh yeah, and even Respawn and Apex, they've kind of come to a couple different levels now. They switch between, things have been updating, but this is interesting. And the first thing it makes me think of is what happened with Hitman and how they ran monthly, weekly kind of targets that would come in and out. And
right.
So I think that has huge potential for a similar system to work in Assassin's Creed, that could be really interesting.
Well, we saw Assassin's Creed for the longest time just go year after year after year after year, and a lot of us got Assassin's Creed fatigued, right? That we really got exhausted from the franchise, just reintroducing a new one for just like without a break in between, Scott. And now we're heading into what they want to basically have just online all the time. It's like these Assassin's Creed games are not short already, man. We already
No.
spend hundreds of hours playing these games, right? I know people who put 400 hours into Odyssey. Like, dude, there's a ton of stuff to do. Like, I was just talking to Corey this morning. I reached out to Corey. You can follow him over at Corey2504 over on Twitter. I think I got that right, Corey.
I think that's right.
Yeah, I think I nailed it. There you go. Good old Corey. You can also catch him over on Inside the Game. So make sure you do that. But Corey is over there, and he's our Valhalla guy because as much as I jumped in, I just did not really, it didn't click, right? For once, an Assassin's Creed game just didn't click with me, and it was kind of disappointing. But he's got 120 hours into Valhalla.
Holy.
Right? So that's what I mean. Like, we're already spending so much time in these games, and now they wanted to bring over the games as service model because of GTA Online. You see Red Dead Online 2 is up there, at least for me anyways, right? I know it's a lot different than GTA Online, but the community is massive over there. But then the revolving world design and changes from Fortnite just introduced a whole new mechanic I think a lot of people just didn't see coming. So it keeps people invested.
Yeah, I think it could work really well because, like you said, they kind of put out a lot of Assassin's Creed games, and some of them go kind of under the radar. A lot of people kind of skipped Rogue.
Yes.
By the time it got to Unity, some people were just already out.
Dude, Unity was so good.
That's why I think that's why they remixed it and kind of made it more of an action RPG for Origin, Odyssey, and Valhalla. But each of these, like you say, are just 100 hours at least. So I think it could be an interesting way to kind of transition from one game to the next without having to reintroduce the whole title.
Well, that's just, I kind of wonder where the story lies now, right? Because when the game started, it was all about the Apple of Eden, and it's still there even when in Valhalla, but it's like this little side story in the distance where it actually comes into the main portion of the game and what lies in front of the character protagonist at the time, right? Whether you're in Odyssey, Origins, or Valhalla, it seems to be really not the main focus of the game as much anymore. But it's kind of, it shows itself at the beginning and then like at the end of the game, and the rest of it is filled with this whole timepiece in between everything, right? So it's kind of one of those things, Scott. And as much as I thought Valhalla would have really, dude, it was Vikings, right? Like I was sold the minute I saw Vikings. I'm like, I'm in. At the time we were watching the show as well, Vikings. So it was like, it was just a perfect fit. And then you start raiding camps and you blow your horn and call everybody in. I'm like, this is not Assassin's Creed.
This is not a stealth operation.
No, right? Like you just might as well go in with a shotgun and away you go. It's just, so I'm curious to see now, what's the future look like for Assassin's Creed if they're going to go with this Infinity design. We've seen Massive over there too bring over the Division and the Division 2, right? And that's an online games of service, and it's populated, dude. Like the Division 2 is just an ongoing evolving world, and it is fantastic. Massive really kind of honed in on what they're doing with the Division 2, and the Division 1 didn't really click, and then all of a sudden 2 dropped, and I had a bit of a struggle at the beginning, and then it just hit me, and I was in. Dude, I was in for hours. I spent a lot of time in there with buddies, hanging out, playing with Nate, Kyle. We're all there, and every day we'll be back for the next grind and the next grind. So are we going to get into this kind of a daily challenge scenario, new maps? What's the story look like though, Scott, when it comes to these games? They say it's going to be different worlds, but all connected. So like, what does the future look like for storytelling now when it comes to Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, they've always been kind of interlaced, but it takes looking into the back lore of each kind of iteration to see how these characters fit together. So this will be an interesting, more free way of them kind of telling the story, but how's that going to affect gameplay too? Are you pushing, you know, in the case of Assassin's Creed 2, I believe it was, you're pushing against the Borsha, and are they going to just be able to push back now? Is there going to be different updates where they've taken a quadrant of the map and now you have to retake it? there's a lot of potential here that could keep people playing for a lot longer than 100 hours, which is already out there. So the bar is very high, but they want to do something to shake it up. I'm excited.
I'm definitely excited. I want to see where this lies, right? We saw multiplayer come and go, which was unfortunate. I was a huge fan of when multiplayer dropped in Brotherhood. Dude, I was like, I remember running home from work to get a round or two in before, my other priorities kind of arrived. That sort of thing, right? So I would rush home, play the multiplayer, and then that fizzled out. And we lost multiplayer, and
Yeah.
instead we saw Unity bring in co-op, which was awesome. I recently went back into Unity. Dude, I finished that game. That game was fantastic. And then I got to play with some friends too. Like Nate was in there, Kyle was in there again, and our buddy Nate's brother Joel was there. We all played the Unity co-op, and it was
Oh, I missed out.
awesome. Dude, it was a ton of fun, right? And then you get into later games, and there's just no multiplayer aspect whatsoever. Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, there's nothing. Like there's no anything when it comes to the world of multiplayer. So now when you get into a games of service, are they going to align and bring back the co-op aspect of that and let me go out with other assassins, kind of like they did with
Oh,
Unity? This is kind
that
of
could
where I'm
be
hopeful, right?
that could be really good in the case of adding raids and that kind of thing that you would
Exactly.
consider normal to an MMO, but would seem kind of strange in Assassin's Creed. But the Unity kind of way of running it could absolutely work for raids. And
But
that would make sense with the live service as well. They introduce new challenges and stuff like that. And I like where that's going.
right, there's a huge opportunity here, I think, to keep people invested. Come back for your daily challenges, and then set out to do other things. Like you see challenges all the time from Hitman with new targets coming in. You could easily do that in an online, like on service games of service model for Assassin's Creed, and have me back in every day because I want to get the next piece of gear, the next loot drop, the next whatever it is, the next carrot you're dangling in front of me, Scott, for Assassin's Creed, right? Like it's just, man, I've been an Assassin's Creed fan from the beginning, and as of late, it kind of just teetered off because that's what I said. Valhalla just didn't really hook me. I'm gonna go back. I got to finish it because I've beaten every single Assassin's Creed game except for 2, and those are on my to-do list. But Odyssey is up first, and then I'll be rolling into Valhalla. But the online potential here for a games as service model for Assassin's Creed, because they have so much to play with. Dude, will we finally jump into a Japan setting?
Oh, I've been really hoping for a
Man.
couple titles now that we'd find ourselves in the East, but it just hasn't happened yet. But this
Yeah.
could be really cool because it could be a way of trialing that out for a little while, and if it doesn't work, they could backstep and roll us back to a location we've already been to, perhaps. Maybe this will explore the combination from character to character and kind of fill in the gaps in between. I
Yep.
have a lot of questions when I see this drop. I'm going to be very curious.
No, absolutely. There's so much on the table here for them to play with over at Ubisoft. The potential is massive, but there's a lot of controversy going right now within the company around the Me Too movement and a bunch of other things, right? Like sexual allegations and all this other stuff that are creating a lot of drama within the studio. So hopefully they're able to sort that out and start working on the game. And I think maybe, dude, I could be in Assassin's Creed for a very long time if this works out well.
Oh, I just had a thought. One last thought on this topic.
Yeah.
What if this is meant to bridge the gap between Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs?
Oh man! Wow! Ooh, wow! Yeah,
You mentioned walking into camp with a shotgun, and it's not a stealth operation. We got to get the Watch Dogs eventually, right?
maybe. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Scott, let's move on to what Riot's up to. Riot is trialing a Battle Royale mode for Valorant. We'll see how this goes. It looks like Riot Games is finally caving to the pressure and could add a much requested Battle Royale mode to Valorant. As we continue to make our way through Episode 3, Act 1, players are looking ahead at how Valorant will evolve beyond adding KO to the game. There have been plenty of calls for Battle Royale to join the other modes. With Valorant Mobile just around the corner, it would be a great time to launch Battle Royale across the title. We don't know whether Battle Royale is the main game or mobile, or is it coming to both. But people have been waiting for a very long time, Scott. We'll see if Valorant is coming. What do you feel is the next move in the world of Valorant?
Yeah, it seems like, well, it's kind of a joke to that I make a lot. Is this going to be the next Battle Royale? And I've gone through many titles now, but Valorant was one I was not expecting. It turns out
Yeah.
there's actually quite a lot of fan demand for a Battle Royale mode, and that's what's driving this decision. But it seems kind of a little strange, a little unnatural for me, just because Valorant follows that Counter-Strike style of play. It's very fluid and very PC, if that makes any sense to anybody.
Yep.
But and everybody drops in one or two shots. So I'm not quite sure how a battle royale would work in the traditional sense, or if they're going to have to come up with their own kind of spin on it. Perhaps it doesn't have 50 people dropping into a game. Maybe it's less than that. But
Sure.
I want to see more innovation across all battle royales, and this one seems to be the most um, daring.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where they take Valorant. I'm looking forward to it actually coming to mobile as well. I want to check that out. I'm going to
That'll
jump
be
over
interesting.
into our Twitch chat over at twitch.tv/the official ITG. Just like you can join us, but ITG Parker's there and says, I'm worried about the whole games of service model. Makes for a burger with no toppings. Look at Marvel's Avengers and Anthem. Well, right?
Yeah, that is a
Valid
good
point.
point.
That's a very valid point. So we'll see. But let's get into Frank Sagner and Rashid. Oh man, Vericheka. We'll go with that. Vericha stepped down from Codemasters. EA has announced the departures of Frank and Rashid from their respective roles as CEO and CFO of Codemasters. The news follows EA's acquisition of Codemasters and its subsidiary, Slightly Mad Studios, which was completed back in February. According to the company, both were departures have already been a part of the plan, Scott. That was the biggest thing, but it seems like a weird move as you just get purchased and join a company to then later like leave just a few months later.
Yeah, that it kind of tells me that there's something uncomfortable going on in that
Yeah,
merger or in that
absolutely.
acquisition. It's if they were already thinking about it, but this just became an opportunistic time to do it. That makes sense, but I just hope it doesn't mean more for. I hope it doesn't speak to what it means to work under EA. Of course, I have
Exactly.
no experience with that, but any of us want a stable work environment and a good work community. And if these guys bailed, I hope it's not for those reasons.
No, absolutely. It says we are incredibly thankful to Frank and Rashid for everything they have done with Codemasters and Electronic Arts. We all we all wish them the very best. We know the culture they have created and their innovative spirit will very much live at the studio through their outstanding leadership team. EA snapped up Codemasters for $1.2 billion,
Whoa.
successfully outbidding Take Two for ownership and adding franchises like F1, Project Cars, and Dirt to their existing roster of sports IPs. So, man, it wasn't just a small purchase. It came at a
No.
big price, and then they lost their CFO and CEO. Like, that's just, man, that seems like a weird move. Maybe they like, oh, well, you bought us, so peace out. I'm retired.
Yeah, maybe maybe they went to go take jobs at Take Two.
That's right. Like it's just kind of, huh? No, I think you know what? We build our company. We've done well with the company over Codemasters, and if we sell it, then why not just go relax for a little while? I think maybe that's the biggest thing, right? Why not take some time off? So hit me up if somebody wants to buy ITG Daily. Not just kidding. But seriously, dude.
1.2 billion would be hard to put away. It
Sorry,
would be
Scott,
hard
you
to
got a new
deny.
co-host. Oh man, it'd be hard not to talk about games though every day. I gotta be honest. I really love what I do, but that is a lot of
Yeah,
money. So
during the downtime I experienced, man, that was itching at me the whole time. Who do I talk to about anything? What's
well,
going on? I
that's
just
just
was out of the loop for too long.
yeah. It's just part of my everyday habits and routines. So to lose that, but when you've done something for so long, maybe they've been at CEO, like he's been a CEO of Codemasters for so long, and they've gone from humble beginnings to this huge franchise now. Like Dirt 5 launched it, and dude, that thing looks awesome. I've yet to jump
Yeah.
in. It's on my. It's one of those I gotta go check a game out. Right, it's on my games of radar kind of thing. To man, I know people are talking about it. I know people are checking it out. but it's definitely one I should jump into and take a look.
I had tried, but got hit with a wall of difficulty. I think that was Dirt 3, though.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they've tried to react to that response because it was a common one for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, Dirt 5 looks a little bit more kind of almost like Forza Horizon.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
actually, I do see that connection as well.
Yeah, I'm
But
definitely.
just a little more rugged, a little more outdoors.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's check out Pokemon Go has raked in over, you ready, Scott, in 5 years, $5 billion. Oh, man. It was the mobile sensation 5th birthday, and it revealed that the game has raked in an impressive $5 billion in revenue. The iOS and Android game developer by Niantic has recorded a ridiculous amount of revenue during the half-decade since its first launch. Initially hitting handheld devices back in 2016, the game has generated over an average $1 billion per year, with approximately 632 million downloads, dude.
That is a huge amount. I think that's more than the population of North America.
Right? Like, it's just, wow. Well, you know what? Congratulations to Niantic. Happy 5th year anniversary for Pokemon Go, and seems like you're doing just okay. So
Yeah, how many packs of Pokeballs does that equal out to? To make $5 billion is just that's extreme.
a ton, man. That's a ton of them. Holy crap.
It seems that AR games are lucrative and probably more are on the way.
I think it has something to do with the name Pokemon. I'm just saying.
Absolutely true. Nobody in my generation ignored it.
Yeah, right. For me, I just like tried and I was like, I can't do it. But I knew at the time, like everybody, dude, there'd be hordes of people going out and they'd just be walking all over the place and their phones up and they're, man, like it even got my girlfriend there for a while too. I was like, wow, really?
Wow. I
Wow.
met some people in small towns and I met someone down the road in my house just running after that Scyther, you know? Got to get my favorite Pokemon. It was there, but that was cool and it just gripped society as a whole.
Well, yeah, it's definitely a movement at the time, that's for sure, and it's still going by the sounds of things. So $5 billion is not a bad investment at all for them. So Scott, let's get into what game announcements and releases are coming out today.
All right. Well, today we actually have new information on something that's very interesting to me. I'm very curious, but there is a new RoboCop game.
What?
In development. I was not expecting this. And it is slated for a release in 2023, at least at the moment. The publisher is Nacon, and they have announced this Tuesday during a live stream that it will be titled RoboCop Rogue City. And it will be a first-person shooter that puts players in the total body prosthesis of Alex Murphy, the RoboCop. And he is on a mission to protect Detroit, which sounds like quite a mission. I'm pretty excited to see what that means, but they have not really released any details on it so far, other than it will be a first-person shooter, and it's in RoboCop in Detroit. So I'm looking forward for more information coming down the tube on that one. As for today's releases, we have an update coming to Fallout 76, and that would be the Steel Rain update. That is on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC. And then we have a Switch release, Out of Line. But that is all we have coming out today. It's a bit of a light release date.
It's not too bad. I've seen a lot of lightness things going on lately. But this will wrap up, everybody, for ITG Daily. Thank you for hanging out with us. And don't forget, you can always be a part of our show over here, live over at twitch.tv/theofficialITG, as well as YouTube. But if you can't join us live, it's not a big deal. Hit us up later at InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. I'm Drew, that's Scott, and this is ITG Daily. We'll see you inside the game.